Good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you're watching this transmission. Tis I, Mike Martins. Thanks for joining me. Let's have some faith. What am I talking about? As the world oohs and ahs at Julian Assange getting dragged away from the Ecuadorian embassy. Mind you, he is an Ecuadorian citizen. He became dual citizen. And kind of at awe with him being an Australian citizen and Australia not doing nothing about it. Oh, God forbid Australia does anything about anybody that leans to the right or that's conservative. And as everyone looks and dawns on that, there's one Canadian who ran for mayor who is being branded as a far-right leaning. I'm going to leave it up to you guys because I don't want to get my channel to get flagged. So the Globe and Mail put up a really good article here. So for those of you who don't know, her name is Faith Goldy. Let's go to her channel. Oh, it's right here. There she is, Faith Goldy. And she was a mayoral candidate for the last running for Toronto mayor in the province of Ontario. And she's been branded as, like, I have the Wikipedia. So let's go to Wikipedia first. Let's go to Wikipedia. Faith Goldy, born June 8, 1989, also known as Faith Goldy Bezos, is a Canadian political commentator. Goldy's views have been described as far-right, alt-right, and white nationalists. She wrote on a report, The Rebel Media, including live coverage of events surrounding the 27 Unite the Right rally. Charlottesville, Virginia. Her contract was terminated in 2017 after she appeared in an interview with Daily. So they're trying to... See, we don't know. See, they're trying to frame it. They always try to frame it, and this is locked. They could say what they want about you and lock it down, and you got nothing you could say about that. And that's how I keep telling you guys. 100 years from now, you mark my words. Iraq did have weapons of mass destruction, and the United States of America went to free the world. That's what it's going to stay 100 years from now. You know why? Because no one now will be alive 100 years from now to know the truth. And because of stuff like this and engineering and moving things around, that's how she'll be branded forever. Going 100 years from now, someone will look back at this and say, oh my God, but nobody really knows. So tonight we're going to just look at this. So what's white nationalism? White nationalism is a type of nationalism or pan-nationalism which espouses the belief that white people are a race. Yeah, they're human. They're a human race. And seeks to develop and maintain white national identity. So, what's wrong about being white? I'm proud to be Portuguese. I'm Portuguese to the soul. I want to die a Portuguese. I'm proud to be a Portuguese. You know what I'm saying? And our history has been so erased by all this whitewashing of history. That's, yeah. So what's wrong with being proud to be a Jamaican? What's wrong with being proud to be, of every culture? It's okay, but proud to be of Caucasian descendants, proud to be, and then when people say, look what they did. No, that's what they did. That was their fight. That was their war, not mine. Oh, Mike, but the Portuguese were known to do this. That's what you think, and they did that, not me. So that's the problem we're facing right now. We're digging up things from 1,000 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, even 100 years ago, 80 years ago. It was their problem. But, so, analysts describe white nationalism of overlapping with white supremacists. And white supremacists, white nationalism, sometimes described as euphorism for the subset of white supremacism, and to have been used to interchangeably by journalists and analysts. White supremacist is a pursuit of white-only state. I don't know. Okay, that I've seen that, like, I've heard of that. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know what the point of having a white. Oh, I like, for me, you know, it's really, 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 really sketchy when they word it out like this. It's completely sketchy. All right, so let's move that down. So basically, they're engineering this in a way and scaring people that want to be conservative, or people that have conservative values, Christians that believe in family and life, pro-lifers, are all being put into these right-leaning level, if you want to put it that way. And then when you get put into one of these levels, or one of these brackets, or be put in one of these generalizations, then what happens? Oh, I don't want to be known as that, you know? So, what would I be? I'm wondering what I would be. I believe that every culture should have a right to, every religion should have a right to freedom, every freedom of the press, freedom of speech, freedom of everything, freedom of assembly. I believe in, I don't agree with what some people do, but I still believe they have the right to say it, and I defend their right to say it. And that's the key, and that's what we're missing out on here. So what am I going to be classified as? I'm white, but my wife's Filipina, dark Filipina. My ex-wife was Muslim. She was born in Afghanistan. I was married to her for 6 years. My ex-girlfriend was from Jamaica, and then the one before that was from Trinidad, and then the one before that was from China. I wonder. No, my ex-girlfriend was Chinese, and then it was Jamaican. Then, so, but in all world, what am I considered then? I'm famous in Portuguese Africa, in Angola. Let's see how famous I am. 118,000 followers. All my documentaries, Africa for Sale, Timor, Genociding Timor. Australians know the Genociding Timor really well. All my documentaries. And I'm trying to, you know, 5,100 likes on my video. Look, somebody just put a picture of their baby to match me in my photo. I wonder what I'm labeled as. That's a really, really good thing to know. If I believe that there's nothing wrong with being Caucasian. There's nothing wrong with being anything. You know what I'm saying? Wow, this thing got 249 comments on it. There I am with my wife. This is for my Portuguese-speaking world. Angola and Mozambique, I've been backing them up. I've been asked to tone this down a bit by high-level African politicians. But anyways, let's get back to faith, because that's what's important here. Don't celebrate Faith Goldy's Facebook ban. Be concerned about what's next. And that's very true. Because what is next? Imagine the transhumanists, predictors of the future, get it right, and at some point we exist as nothing more than a code in a cloud. We can't pick flowers or hug our partners, but we can meet new people and have lively conversations with them. Imagine one of those conversations turns into a yelling match, and things get heated. Insults are exchanged, onlookers join in. Then imagine someone violates one of the rules on the platform and is swiftly reported to the authorities, who are themselves nothing more than information. The person is banned from the site, or perhaps from a host of sites, or perhaps from the cloud altogether. A statement is released about the banning. The individuals and organizations we have banned today violate our standards surrounding what constitute organized hate, and they will no longer be allowed a presence on our services. The offending party would be no platform, no presence. If in fact the only place where someone exists in the future is on a platform, and you take that platform away from them, then you've killed them. Yes, this is an extreme vision, according to the techno-optimists and sci-fi writers among us, although one part is very real. Above the quote comes directly from a recent Facebook announcement, but it's a step from one kind of existence to another, any larger than the one from bloodletting to modern medicine, or from horses to self-driving cars. That's so cool, horses to self-driving cars. The line between now and the future is blurrier than we realize. When we cross that divide without realizing it, we're unprepared for what we encounter. We cross this line every day. Social media is a world that none of us were prepared for. Take Mark Zuckerberg post last week titled 4 Ideas to Regulate the Internet, as if the internet is only recently in need of regulation, as if people had already cast their votes of US presidents because of a thing called Pizzagate, as if extremists haven't already found a perfect platform radicalizing users. So here's some key points here. So, do you know why this is all happening, guys? We are all being punished. All of us. Even if you're not, if you don't have a platform on social media, you're being punished. Do you know why? I know why. One major reason is because Hillary lost the election. Ever since Hillary lost the election, it's been an absolute censorship shutdown all over the world because of that. That's one main reason. They've censored me. My Portuguese YouTube channel is banned in Angola, and it is also banned in Guinea-Bissau, and it's also banned in Cabo Verde. Cabo Verde is a Portuguese-speaking country. But do you know why my platform was deplatformized, or I was kind of silenced even on my Facebook page? I was silenced because I called the Angola elections rigged. Just like the Venezuelan ones, all this crap that's happening, not with Maduro, because this is a big story behind that. I'm not going to get into that to get this video flagged. Because if you knew what really happened in Venezuela, you're gonna open your, you know when you have those shades over your sunglasses and you turn them up to take a better look, and you put your shades back down? Well, you're gonna pull one of those, a second take. But anyways, I called the election rigged in Angola, the past election. I've been asking for the president, former president of Angola, that's been there for like 28 years, to step down in my videos, to let somebody else take the reins, have a transparent election, and it happened. But I got into a bit of trouble for that. I got censored, and this is my slogan. It's in parts of Africa. It's in Portuguese here. Africa will never have a real democracy because it is easier to manipulate a corrupt country, or African countries, or Africa. It's easier to manipulate a corrupt country. I should say a corrupt continent, but it's too broad, so it's easier to manipulate a corrupt country. And yeah, so I'm not gonna get into too much of me, but I was silenced too. And when I saw Faith Goldy being, here's my documentaries, look at this, 1 hour and 45 minutes, all the work I did on the news. I even proposed a new constitution for Angola. I even wrote out an entire constitution. Uma carta de mandado. And I was censored for that. And what was I doing? I was just helping the status quo. Helping, I don't know. Okay, here's some key points. Twitter bans white nationalist group Canadian Nationalist Front. Opinion: Facebook finally takes a stand against white nationalism. Will Twitter ever get the memo? So they're pushing now for Twitter to do the same. Facebook banned several Canadians for supporting white nationalism as Ottawa's eyes new regulation on social platforms. So here's the deal. Let's say you got Charlie Manson in one of those 8 people, okay, that are getting, or 10 people that are getting banned. You got Charlie Manson in there, okay? He's got a crime record this long. But then you go ahead and you put Charlie Manson with Faith and all these other people, Faith Goldy and everybody else. Someone reads through the list. Oh, there's Charles Manson. Thank God, these people must be horrible. And then that plays it starts playing on people's minds, right? As a part of its recent stand against such radicalization, Facebook announced on Monday that Faith Goldy, the former Toronto mayoral candidate, was banned from its platform, criticizing her as a leader of organized hate. Guys, I've been following this lady about a year before her mayoral announcement, and she doesn't hate anybody. Nobody. We'll go through some other things here, which the company defines as an association of people holding ideologies that attack individuals based on characteristics. Banning Miss Goldy is aligned with Facebook CEO's goal of eradicating harmful content from his platform. Harmful content is the catch-all term for terrorist propaganda, hate speech, and more. A letter being an ambiguous term that could refer to literally anything that Mark Zuckerberg and his team decide what they decide it means. So basically it's very vague. It's like the Canadian Constitution, the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. It's the same thing. It's very vague. It's left for interpretation. This should give us pause. Can the problem of the internet hate really be tackled or even mitigated by a team of techies in dialogue with a team of experts, as Mr. Zuckerberg calls them in a post titled Standing Against Hate? The word hate is used 12 times to defined 0 times. Different people will have different versions of hate. Some gay people, such as myself, might feel uncomfortable when some conservative Muslims talks about homosexuality in degrading terms, and some of us might describe such speech as hateful. Similarly, some of those same Muslims might feel that gay people are being hateful. When we condemn the heterosexist elements found in their traditions, but are we guilty of hate? What if several of us start a public discussion online? Is our hate then organized? Any one-size-fits-all definition of hate is not going to suffice. Human speech is a complicated affair. Words strain, writes T.S. Eliot, and they won't stay still. At any point in a conversation, I can tell it to you straight, or tell you a joke, or quote a third party, or quote someone who has been quoted a third party, or might sarcastically say what I mean by saying what I don't mean. Human beings have evolved a highly developed capacity for communication and regulating that on digital platform, no less, runs the risk of getting it very wrong. To his credit, Mr. Zuckerberg is upfront about this. Nothing that, given the scale of the platform, the company will always make mistakes and decisions that people disagree with. But if that's the case, then why not let us be the ones who make the mistakes? Regulating speech and behavior from the ground up rather than by coercion, is the way to initiate the most meaningful change, whatever that means. Sorry, guys. Let's be clear. White nationalism and other ideology that speaks to protect the white race from non-whites is evil and deserves a fierce condemnation, as well as lessons in history and biology. So if you support the South during the Civil War, then you were a racist. So if you believe in the rebels, the South, and you lived in the South, I lived in the South, I live in Florida, and there's a very interesting history that the Northerners won't tell you. When the North won and the South freed the slaves, the North held slavery for 9 years longer. They don't tell you this. But they held slavery for 9 years longer than the South did. So the South released all their slaves. But for me, I'll tell you what I think. That war wasn't about slavery. That war was about joining the international banking cartels. The South didn't want nothing to do with a world order or being part of a bigger connection to Europe. The North wanted it. They got support from the Irish to come in and fight the war for the North. There's a lot going on in that war. That's just my opinion. I think it was more of a banking war. Nothing to do with slavery. Because a lot of blacks fought for the South. Why? Why? Lots of regiments. That's not up for question. What is, however, debatable is whether presencing such people online will have any effect what they do offline. Banning voices from the conversation is one surefire way to not getting them to go away. U.S. cultural elites have spent the last decade running deplorables out of the public square and were shocked to discover they'd return wearing red baseball caps. The greater concern, though, isn't with who is banned, but isn't entire social media platforms, especially Twitter, seem perfectly geared toward hating everyone? Sure, the haters might not be using the language of white nationalists, but that doesn't matter to the person being bullied. What matters is that the hate they endured feels every bit as real as what Mr. Zuckerberg classified as organized hate. The worry, then, is that Facebook will send the message that not all hate is bannable, which means that some hate is acceptable. If we make a big show of banning some haters instead of others, do we end up giving some kind of endorsement to those who remain? Thank you for reporting Deborah's Facebook post. We've reviewed it and found that her hateful message isn't hateful enough to remove her from our platform. Mr. Zuckerberg is responding to the very real growing threat of white nationalism, which is often linked to unspeakable acts of violence. And yet, white nationalism, as evil as it is still one of the many problems we encounter in social media. Facebook has to start somewhere, obviously, and the company is going to make mistakes. But at the very least, they could start defining their terms. But Facebook's sinking like the Titanic anyway, so who cares? This is what's happening, people. So this was a good article because what's next is the main question. Faith Goldy banned from Facebook. Other site enforcers, extremist, hate policy. Now what? All right, there's this guy who's trying to sell me energy here. On Monday, former Toronto mayoral candidate and several others were banned from Facebook. Goldy was kicked off the social media and Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, along with the white nationalist Kevin, this guy from Rebel Media, and the right group Soldiers of Odin. So here they go. They add another really right group in there. I don't know who Soldiers of Odin is, but they add him into the mix. Just like I said earlier, where you have Charles Manson in that list, then you have all these other people, and then they recognize Charles Manson and say, wow, these guys are all bad. But let's see what this lady has to say here.
And it's contagious. To help us understand its spread and to counter it, I'm joined by Stephanie Carvin. She's a terrorism and security expert at Carleton University in Ottawa. Professor Carvin, first, what is the biggest question in your mind after what we have seen unfold in New Zealand?
Well, I think the biggest question on my mind is also possibly the biggest question on the minds of New Zealand authorities, which is, how did this person come to...
All right, they're talking about New Zealand here. Alrighty then. So let's see if I can get that video. Let me refresh this page and see if I can get that video there with the guy from Rebel Media here. See if I can get this guy back here. No, it's showing this thing. So, Buddy, from individuals, organizations who spread hate. We read that already. So they're saying that, listen to this, Veronica, an associate professor of political science at the University of Waterloo, told Global News that deplatforming a person or a group can have positive effects. That's the problem here. So here's the video.
Wait.
It's got music here. Holy crap, I got 30 seconds to watch this crap? I think there's less evidence that a ban is going to be successful for those who already inclined to support those views who support someone like Goldy. So anyone that supports her, just like anyone that voted for Trump, is considered a right. What do they consider us to be? Even though Donald Trump won the Latino vote and other votes, but what do I know, right?
What should be done to stop the spread of lies and hate online? It's Taylor Owen. He's professor of media ethics and communication at McGill University. Taylor, thanks for joining us. I know you think we need to invest in digital literacy, too. That's one component of all of this, of course. But I want to focus tonight on regulation. Should social media companies be allowed to regulate themselves at all anymore?
I think no. I think they've proven time and time again that they have created a product that, while tremendously valuable and able to scale their business models for them globally, has a whole range of negative externalities in our society. They're causing some negative things inside our democracies, and that is exactly the type of thing for which we have governments.
And why are governments so slow to regulate, or at least put in rules that require some transparency when it comes to things like digital election advertising, so Canadians know who's paying for a political ad when they see it on Facebook or Instagram? Why is it taking so long to regulate?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean,
again, this goes back to Hillary losing the election, right? So they wanted to kind of, because what's going to happen is a lot of people will start waking up to what's really going on. And if a lot of people do, then the whole election thing needs to be completely, it's already rigged, but they need to find a way to make it even less obvious. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, yeah. Let's move on. After Facebook banned Faith Goldy, white nationalist groups' accounts and ads in their name remained. After Facebook banned Faith Goldy across its platforms, climate change activist Lee Hunter noticed this ad today, Tuesday morning, and reported it to Facebook. Hunter received a reply stating that the advertisement did not violate the company's ad policy and posted it to Twitter Tuesday afternoon. Facebook took it down the page that purchased Goldy's advertisement. Ooh, he reported it. It's like he's doing such a good thing, but nobody knows the real story. And that's the sad part, is people can't defend themselves. So here's her channel. Here are her videos. So let's take a look at some of her videos here. She's being called a bigot. Or she's being called everything, actually. But I like this one with Jesse Lee Peterson. Here's her and Jesse Lee Peterson. She does a really good going over history and going over civil rights and all that stuff. And she really does a good job. These two do a really good collaboration work together. Very good collaboration work together. I just wanted to throw that out there. She's been on Alex Jones. She's been on all the bad guys' channels. She has this ongoing war against Trudeau and his policies that are just not working with Canadians. So, yeah, and then she was silenced from the Toronto elections when she ran for Toronto. When she ran for mayor of Toronto, she was completely censored. She wasn't allowed to go on the debates, even though she was like the second or third most popular person running. She wasn't given anything, and I was Here she is. Faith Goldy storms the stage at Toronto mayoral debate, gets escorted. Not one of these people that were running up there were anywhere near her in popularity and votes, right? I think she came in third in that election, but none of the people up there that were up there running for, you know what I'm saying? Team Faith putting Toronto first, feeding the homeless. They don't look at this stuff, right? Toronto mayoral candidate Faith Goldy interrupts John Tory's press. Toronto mayoral candidate storm stage on first debate. So there's a lot of things going on, and anybody that I believe that believes in conservatism. I'm conservative. I'm Roman Catholic. I'm a Portuguese. What am I considered then? Am I considered a threat to society? Am I a threat to the people? Anyways, guys, I wanted to that's my Facebook there. I wanted to throw this out there. I want to know what you guys think. I want to know what you guys feel, because mark my words, 100 years from now, Iraq did have weapons of mass destruction, and America went there to free the Iraqi people from the massive tyranny and save the world from possible nuclear detonation. That's 100 years from now. Why? Because not you or me will be alive 100 years to tell the truth. Let me know what you guys think. Comment below. And if you want to support my transmission, please share one of my videos. Thank you so much, and God bless.